So today is level designer day. We're going to start work on level designer. Um, oh, yeah. Stream. Okay. And here we are. So what I need, that is viewport for acute actions. This is, oh, do 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 do. Okay. Hmm. All right, now I need to modify the UI. No, this GUI. BP HUD controller. Game HUD. Let's so I want to make the game HUD. Do I want to make the game HUD fully functional first before I create a whole new HUD? Yes. Okay, so we won't do that yet. Okay. So we're finishing the functionality of the UI rather than building a yeah. Okay. And then this could have a text and then says next Q. And this center line horizontally and auto wrap text. Yeah. And this should preview, not next. Next queue, previous queue. Here we are. All right, and then I need to graph, bank graph. Then we go to the head controller, switch. Okay, and to make this work, I'm going to need a second piece with a different piece ID. Piece ID 3. Piece owner. Piece typing them. Game board. Great. All right. So, and this, integer, and then next. Okay. One. Save. Okay. Theta equals 0 goes there. Okay, so I don't have a clear movement cue, but I need to write it. Okay. Oh. Okay, great. All right, so okay, so switch Q has this, and if this is true, then Um, current queued action list. Current action queue. Okay. Um, HUD controller. No, it's HUD controller. And it needs to be switch queue. Um, um, clear actions container. Okay. No. Current action queue tray. Okay. Clear actions container. Okay, so then we do this. Okay. And then we um, um, should this should be in the game board because It's not really a GUI. Well, the GUI keeps track of the active one. That's a GUI thing. Okay. All right. So, so do I get the queued action lists for this player? Yeah, I should. Queued action lists for this player. Um, okay. Um, okay. So what we need to do here is first, the game board manager, we're going to get, I'm going to create a function here. Get action. And we're going to say, um, HUD. Piece, no. It's going to be, piece ID. And then we're going to need a specific and then next piece. Okay, so um, right, okay, so I should probably split this into several. I don't know. this one object probably should have some sub-components. Oh, interesting. Okay. Cool. Good to see you. Hope your chess game's going well, man. Chat's not loading on YouTube. That doesn't make any sense. Hmm. Let's see here. So here we go. We got a next branch. Oh no, this is gonna be. This is gonna be. File save. All that -1. Greater equals 0. Great. Oh, that happens to all of us. I've been buried in building a YouTube video, a very long YouTube tutorial. So actually, I don't know if I did much work on this yesterday. I did do some. Yeah, you know. Can't work on the same thing all the time, huh? You just, move along, move along. Um, um, if find load. Oh, and this function needs to action queue, and it returns a action list. I mean, more of a question answer bot, huh? Well, that's, I don't envy you now that you have lots of homework and working through it is so much easier for, a large language model than it is for you. But believe it or not, it really helps to learn to express yourself. Like homework teaches you many things that you don't expect it to. When I was in engineering school, all the homework was optional. You could do the homework, you could not do the homework. I tended to not do the homework for a while. And then when I came to the test, the classes in which I had not done the homework and the extra problems were the classes in which I did not do well. I don't know. But yeah, it's, that's exactly the kind of thing that, I don't know. I guess if you're programming a bot to do your programming homework for you, then I think you're probably beating the system no matter what. Um, wait, and then this. Right. Yeah, great. This is true, and branch, and then this return, add a return node here. So think and um, yeah. Um, all right, and then find this. I don't know. I think this might actually be the cleanest way to do this. Piece ID. Okay, so that gets that. False. Okay, so this is. I wish I remembered how to label all of this. I mean, this could all be. Fair enough. Yay. Okay. All right. So here and right click and create comment from selection. Awesome. Okay. Um, okay. Hmm. Um, oh, queued action lists. They must have a player ID to attach them. Player ID. Yeah. Okay. Get player. No. Well, I mean, UE4, I'm not working in UE4, but generally there's a lot more documentation out there for UE4. Simply because UE4 was out for longer. you know, UE5, let's see, how long has UE5 been out? Yeah, so UE5 is almost 3 years old, but UE4 was out for has was like is like 15 years old, 10 or 15. When did you when was UE4 released? Yeah, so UE4 is 10 years old, and um, as good as UE5 is, a lot of people even still work with UE4. So anytime you get you search for something or whatever, you're going to get more generally UE4 results in UE5, unless you specify UE5. UE5 is it's a lot better, from what I understand, um, and um, and I use it, but it's not one of those things where like um, yeah. Um, and then this also is going to need a current action queue. More manager. Okay, so if find this, and then this needs a player ID in too. Manager ID. Branch equals this player ID. Uh-oh. So if the player ID is this needs to be an and. So this needs to be an and for both of those. So if the player ID is the same as the current player ID, great. If not, just return the default. Okay. And then false. And then we're going to do next queue. Branch. Hmm. And then let's see here. Then we get the queued action lists with them. And then we do a reverse, we do a for loop. Huh. Oh, variables. Okay, so map, we need to get the keys, I guess. Values. Okay, so we'll get the values as an array. Okay, these are, and then loop for each loop. For each loop break. Okay, loop body. element get player ID and get piece ID. Oh, get referred piece. Get piece ID. Okay. And then this. Do player ID in integer and piece ID. And then I can set those two here and make this easier. Set. Oh. I should always use the same. Okay. ID, piece ID, and then and player DN. This is just to keep these things as a little bit more separate. I don't like, oh, hey, what's this? Okay, so that's, yeah, that makes sense. All right. Not equal piece ID in. And and okay. So that finds a piece, the first piece on the list that is not owned by the same player, and yeah, okay. First queue in the list that has a appropriate refer piece, okay. And then true. True. Break. Okay. And then we'll just do a piece out. Action list out. Uh-oh. Hey. Why can't I do action list out? Oh, okay. Temp list. Great. And this is an action list. execute action list. Okay, and then true, we set this, set temp action list to the array element, and then we go to break. On completed is valid. Oh, get is valid. Branch. There are limitations. There are definitely limitations to blueprints. Um, um, bum, 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 bum. The blueprints are, despite the fact that I've been coding for a long time, I really feel like blueprints are easier to work with because they're so much more visual. That said, that's probably, I don't know if that's completely true or not. Blueprints are quicker to work with in some cases. There are some cases where they aren't. You know, like this specific application. I don't know. I feel like I probably could have coded a big chunk of this a lot easier if it weren't for blueprints, or if I had done it in just code. Um, because I did a lot of things that are really redundant here. Like this is get next get next action queue, and I in code I would end up doing things about the same way. It just wouldn't be anywhere near as much. It wouldn't look anywhere near this messy. And I would kick myself for doing that specific maneuver where I just took this big block of code and just, oh yeah, I'm gonna just copy paste it like that. I would not be happy with myself for doing that in code. But in blueprints, I'm just like, okay. And I could probably make a function here, but it would be a weird function because this is I'm going from just doing a reverse, I'm doing a reverse for each loop. And then reverse completed. False is Boolean, and this is going to be false. Yeah. Like all of this logic is going to be very, very much like the other logic, and that's not good. That's not, you know, that's not ideal. However, what are you going to do? You know, choose. So this is, if this is false, yes, and then true, and then set this here, and then reverse, set reverse completed true. Yeah, yeah. You know, so I end up, you know, I honestly, when I do something like this, I'm like, maybe I should be writing this in code, because code is more powerful. Um, in a couple ways. You know, you can't do the stuff you can't do in blueprints that I really wish you could do in blueprints. Um, Involves more complex data types quite often. Um, Blueprints don't understand. I mean, they understand structs. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, something like checks. Um, you know, you can do. I would. I mean, the way I would do checks, for example, um, is if you've got um, a base object here, okay? Um, uh, big, big, okay. And I did something that would really help you probably with checks. Um, Python doesn't need to use interfaces because Python just lets you do whatever you want. But um, the way that I would handle checks um, would be to have a base piece object. And then what's known as an interface on top of that. Hey, no. Um, ew. Well, that's annoying. There's got to be a square here somewhere. Okay, there's no rectangle. All right, well, we're going to make a rectangle. We're going to put it under the base piece object text. All right, so you've got your base piece object. I'm going to group these two just to make it right. And then we move this, and these two are under the, are part of this interface is what it's called, okay? Now this interface, um, um, it would be like, it'd be a capture move. Um, Possible. Capture king possible, I guess. It'd just be a function called can it has check. Right. Okay. So your base piece object has a um, um, has a function called has check um, in that object, right? And has check calls has check calculates where that piece can move to and whether or not there is a king there. Um, so it tries, you know, going. It tries. Each piece you have implements the has check function Um, and because each piece is a instance of the base piece object, and this has check function um, does different things for different classes that are based on base piece. So you've got a class that does, so for the knight, for example, right? Um, so for the knight is, let's make the knight's function yellow. The knight's implementation of has check says test all forward 3 ding 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 forward 2 right left 1 locations for opposing king. All right. And then your which is a little bit of code, and then you have the bishop, and the bishop's called, let's make the bishop purplish. Okay, well, let's make it a lighter purple. Attempt to go go until you encounter, go diagonal in all directions a piece. If it is a king, return true. If found, return true. And that way, if you've got this set up where the base piece object, you've got the base piece object and you've got all these implemented, what you can do is you've got your array. Damn it. Nope. That's not what I want. Okay, you got your array. This is a very bad array. Well, I mean, it's just a different look. The way that everybody learns programming, okay, as far as I know, I certainly learned it the hard way, is to start doing things the absolute dumbest way possible, which sometimes I still do. There's this could be more elegant, no question. This could be no more elegant. It is a mess. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 return nodes. There probably should be only one. It repeats logic here, where it gets the current queued action list, which I could probably put, which I should put into a function here, and then just call. The thing about programming, okay, is that if you've got all this, right, and then it doesn't matter. I was trained as a functional programmer, and I'm a much better functional programmer than I am object-oriented programmer, honestly. But what you're really looking for when you build and design code, okay, is this square here, okay, to do things that are as unique and reusable as possible. Yeah. I mean, look at this. So so um if what is going on in this box, all right, is actually better served by taking this box and then dividing it into two pieces, all right, because you're going to need to run this and then this, okay, under different circumstances, but need the same functionality, then it makes sense to divide it. And that's really, that's really what you're trying to do. What you're looking for, okay, is reusability. Hey, give me a box. All right. Looking for reusable code. Readable code. Debuggable code. And comprehensible code. Huh? Nobody's mind really can handle and this is why I like blueprints. Okay, nobody's mind can really handle what the heck does all of this do. Okay, like if you look at, let me pull up some C code here. If you look at these, like if you look at my C code, all right, my C code is actually pretty it's still pretty nice because it's so because this function I wrote is very simple. These functions they're a little big. They're I mean this whole class is 100 and is 100 lines long, and that's about the size that people apparently like to aim for. Um, I would be I'd be totally willing to make this class go a little longer because right now what it's doing is just, I mean, the serialize and deserialize, or the serialized class is more than half of the size of this function. But what's happening here is divided into logical pieces. Actually, serialized archive, load serialized object from file. Okay, yeah. Okay, so what's happening here in this chunk of code, and this could be deleted. This does not work. But I'm not going to delete it right now while I'm sitting here. Serialized object JSON string. Great. So what's happening here in this code is it serializes, and when serializing, it calls the parent serializer, and then it does this, and it's very, very linear. It doesn't have any right. You I mean, and debuggable, you always have to, oops, sorry. I might have bumped my microphone or something. I'm not sure. Debuggable is a complicated thing because it's not debuggable by me. It's debuggable by me in 2 years. Um, because if you can't debug your code in 2 years, then um, that's the way you have to think about it. Is if you do, it's not, when you come back to debug something, it won't be, if you write, that's honestly my problem with this blueprint, is that if I it's broken into some meaningful pieces. And that's why I set this up with this, is because go to get next action queue and get previous action queue. I mean, if I didn't put this into, and I've seen some blueprints that I swear people made YouTube videos out of their blueprints, so that they could understand how to work with their own blueprints. And I would never make a video out of this. Never. This is junk. I would need to split it into three functions to do that. Um, Probably. Yeah, and this reverse for each loop. Um, in code, I could write code so that this reverse for each loop didn't require its own thing, and the this chunk here. Um, I mean, I could still take all of this to do. I mean, I could take all of these and I could put it like this and have a default. Um, so I could do this. Not that I think that makes it much cleaner, but it makes it more obvious what I'm doing. Um, I guess I could go like this and it would be more obvious. Fall through. Yeah. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do. Um, and then I need to all of these up a little bit just to keep them out of the way. And then I can move this back. Anyway, this is yeah, if you were to write this in C++, you could probably you would not need to duplicate these two chunks, just so that this node was not. Um, and I could definitely take all of this logic. I could take all of this logic here and put it into a function, and it would look a little prettier. And if I need to debug, if I have bugs in this, I will probably do that. But yeah, I mean, this is when you're looking at a piece of code, or you're looking at a blueprint, or you're looking at a logical system, um, you always want it to be as simple as possible, and to look as clean as possible so that you can understand. Because I will need, if I ever come back here and have to debug this, I'll be able to say, oh, okay, so this finds the player ID that loads a specific piece. Okay, and if it doesn't do that, that's not what it's trying to do, then it comes here and this get the next one. Okay, get the next action queue. What does it do? Well, it pulls out, it goes through the whole array, and it tries to pull out the next one. Oh, and that's not going to work. Son of a bitch. Okay, so that isn't going to work because your array because you're going to start with you're going to start with your array. Hmm. Um, great. Okay. Um, okay, so this macro, some macro. Oh, okay. Yeah. Um, reorder array to start with value. Okay. Hmm. Okay, and input is a array. Oh, it's a action queue action list, I think. Yep. And action list out. Okay. And then we do this and we oh, and then piece ID. Hmm. And we do 4. Hmm. Yeah, this has to be a function. Hmm. Yeah, okay. Well, this has to be a function. Okay, fine. Um, um, yeah, well, um, I mean, now that I have to write this, it, I mean, it almost makes sense to what? Um, well, the idea of the game, um, is that, uh, you're going to just gather these. I've gotten to where I now, um, hey, that's not what I expected to do. All right. So the idea of the game is that you gather objectives and avoid these things. This bubble here will destroy your piece. Okay. Um, so that's the basically the core of the gameplay is you want to um, gather these pieces efficiently and not lose your little turtles. Uh, and it's very very simple. So one of my favorite games is this game called Limelight, um, which is a mobile game. Wow, this is off. It looks off to me. Why does this look off to me? Because I don't know why it shouldn't look off. Okay, well that's a graphics problem that I will need to solve. And why are my lines not? My lines are not alternating, and they should be. Okay, well um, that's a different issue. Okay, so the main idea of the game is that you end up with this. Oh, they're all minor. There are some major lines, but they're all minor lines. Okay. Um, is that you end up with these very complicated logical problems where you want to um, get as much done as possible in one turn. Um, you have a limited number of moves. I'm going to start adding obstacles that move. So there will be there will be predatory obstacles that work to catch that catch your things. I'll add and I'll have objectives that move as well. And so the goal of the game is to collect all of the objectives and as few moves as possible without losing your turtles. And that sounds very simple in theory, but in reality, um, it gets very hard very quickly if you have multiple turtles and you have to plan ahead and things start moving on you. Think things are moving on you. Um, and then if I mean, and then the real goal is to make it multiplayer so that when so that two players spawn with three or four turtles on either side of this grid here, um, and and then it's sort of a race to see who can get the most, who can get the objectives the quickest, and it's a closed sum game in that in that all of it's a closed information game in that all of the information is there, but it is once you get into it being three-dimensional movement, and you've got on a 10 by 10 grid, you've got, or a 10 by 10 by 10 grid, you've got 1,000 intersections with 15 or 20 objectives and 10 or 20 or 30 obstacles, and then you have a lot of decision making to do, and it's very open-ended at the same time as being simplistic. um the idea is really to build a game that is um complex as complex as chess, but at the same time much simpler, because all the pieces only there's only one kind of movement that your pieces can do. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's a permutation of what's known as the traveling salesman problem, which is um, it's a very relevant problem that uh, and when you get to when I think that when it gets to multiplayer, and you have three little turtle things and 15 moves between them, and you get to decide, well, are you going to take one and push it way to the other side and then move the others a little bit, or are you going to, like, how are you going to spend the movement you have to collect as much as possible for your opponent does. And so it's a very it's a very simple game, but it's not something I've seen anybody build before. It's not something I've ever seen before, and that's and the original version of people really enjoyed it when they sat down and had fun and started playing with it. Um, so that's why I brought this out. I was like, well, this has a lot of potential. Um, and it's also something I can build on my own. Um, so yeah, so my idea is that I will um, make a demo in the next, I make a demo in the next 3 or 4 months that has 40 or 50 single player levels, of sort of increasing complexity, and then um, take and um, well, okay, the demo went at 40 levels. Let's say that the demo will have 15 levels, and then the original the core single player game will have 35 more ish. Um, and then I'll take that and add multiplayer to it, um, so that the single player puzzle part is fun and interesting, and I'll add a puzzle editor, or a field editor, um, so that people can make the yeah, 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 yeah. Well, the puzzles will be. I mean, the puzzles. I think I can go a long way with the puzzles. Um, yeah, I hope so. Um, the first 10 levels, I'd say, like when you look at a good puzzle game, the first five-ish levels are really like hardcore tutorial. Like the first 15 levels of this game, 10 of them will be tutorial, and then it'll get into more advanced stuff, and then it'll start getting. I mean, it can start getting really weird. Um, moving objectives, moving obstacles. With moving objectives and obstacles, then you have and moving objectives, moving obstacles, and tracing obstacles. Those are the three things. Like obstacles that um, move on one plane only, but move towards you, or obstacles that because the obstacles need to turn just like you do, and they need to spend a turn turning, and always turn towards the nearest turtle. Like you can confuse it then with the way that the turtle moves. Um, so yeah, so I think it has a lot of potential, especially because I've never seen anything like it, and it's really weird. Um, it being a really weird idea is kind of the most important part here. Um, and wait, what? Oh man. Okay, clear grid. All right, load level. I think I found an issue. I should get a score. What happened here? Base actor destroyed. Clear grid, load level. What's wrong here? What's wrong here? Point value 1, piece owner 0. Um, oh, this one has the wrong owner. Okay. What's it called? Huh, Bart Bonte. Let's see here. What's he made? Pink Sugar Game Factory Balls. Oh. Um, green. Ah, yes, I've played this. I've played one of these. Yes, I have played this. Not this, but a game like this. No, definitely played this. Yes, I remember that. I played that one. I might have played all of them back when they were Flash games. Um, um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Huh. Yeah. Um, they're cool games. That guy's made some cool games. Let me be honest with you. Yeah, that's a cool game. There's a game if you like that game. Um, I recorded some Limelight, but I will stream it again sometime if you want. Actually, I can just show you right now. Let's see here. And I think Limelight is available on mobile, but it's also not free. Oh, controller recommended. I did not remember that part. Um, random capture, game capture window, Limelight, and the Limelight was on. All right, so let's see. Okay, I will get do do do. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, so that's one of my I I definitely enjoy Limelight a lot. Um, and you know that's I mean that I know the barrier to entry on building, you know, there aren't a lot of it's interesting, but there aren't a lot of really basic multiplayer games made. I don't basic multiplayer puzzle style games like this made because it is, you know, there's tabletop there's an engine called it's I mean yeah, but it's at the same time it's super simple. Um there aren't a lot of tabletop multiplayer like tabletop games made because it's or multiplayer like piece like simplistic looking games like this made. So I mean that's really the goal is to get people interested in the basic single player stuff, interested enough in the basic single player stuff to start a multiplayer to make it worth building multiplayer for this. Um, I might try building multiplayer out of the gate. We'll see. You know, I have 3 months, I guess. Three. Let's see. So I basically have 6 months um, to get this really looking to get this to the point where it's a really good thing, and I need to start handing it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The mechanics of Limelight are very simple. You know, they get more complex as time goes by. There are some there the you know the that's world one. There are like 5 worlds, and there's 2 or 3 mechanics added each world. Um, yeah, yeah. Hmm. Um, yeah, yeah. Um, so I'm going to be wrapping it up in um, little little less than 5 minutes. If anybody has any questions, you're welcome to ask them. Um, I did not get my cues written today. That will have to wait until tomorrow. I have a, I have, I mean, it's late for me, and I have a YouTube video that is written. That's about 60% written, and the slides are made. I need to record it. Um, let's say 70% written. Oh, there's 2 left. Um, but yeah. So if anybody has any last questions before I head out, let me know. Bum 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 bum. Let's look at. And I don't know why I'm not getting. It's not getting a score. That is something I wanted to look into. Um, BP objective. So I wanted to give BP objective, event graph, um, BP player. Let's see here. It must be in the player then. It's in default player piece. I remember that, and I'm not happy about that. All right. So add score for player. See if that's um, all right. So let's see how this dismiss. All right. So let's see here. Clear grid, load level. Does this? Let's see here. So we have Objective 0, it has primary game board. Okay, primary game board. Has game pieces, PP, okay. Okay. Okay, now the output log should show that I should get a score here. um, breakpoint. Does PP do objectives have an overlap or some sort of? No, they should be completely passive. Okay, well, let's try it again. Ha! You can see me becoming a future YouTube star. Well, I'd be surprised, but I appreciate it. If you like. Appreciate it. Okay, let's see here. So something is really wrong because it's going to destroy actor here. Why? I don't know. Okay. Um, oh, okay. Oh, All right, so I just had the wrong objective. I just had the wrong owner on the piece. So it didn't register the score with the right player and then display it. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna call it quits at that. My wife would like to spend some time together, and then I have recording kitchen to do. Um, thank you for hanging out as always, and I will see you later. Let's see here. We're gonna put my to do current task. Okay. Take care.